Okay. What do you think, Kevin?
I concur.
Oh. No, I predict that in 2027, the political climate in Michigan is going to be much better.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. Oh, that's not right. Welcome to the Stick to the Plan podcast. As always, I'm Kevin. I'm here with Russ. It's another Monday.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Pops. How you doing?
It's been a snowy. It's been a hard January, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. A tough start to the year for sure.
Right. We're Michigan people. We're used to it.
Yeah.
And when I hear, why are the schools closing? I'm like, get them darn kids to school.
I never remember getting like, oh, it's too cold to go to school. No, I just froze my ass off at the bus stop.
They might close the playground, but they'd send you to school.
Yeah, you go to school. Oh, or in the, I guess, summertime when it would be too hot.
Technically, all week should have been closed if that's the way a lot of parents would have wanted it. And then you got to make that up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, they get so many days before they have to make it up.
So I think they're probably getting there.
Close.
It just occurred to me today because every time I exit the house, I'm brushing off the car.
Right.
And of course the cold, and it's been a tough January here in Michigan.
Yeah, it is.
Winter. Right.
We've also been very lucky. And we've had some very mild winters last couple of years.
We've been spoiled over now. Plenty of ice on the shores of Michigan Center Lake.
I saw that. Was it somebody was doing a tip-up festival?
They do that every year at Wilbur Lake for the Big Nine.
Oh, maybe. I know
Houghton Lake had theirs, of course.
Yeah, for a couple of years there, I know that they had to cancel it.
Oh.
I mean, maybe not last year. I think last year was the first year they had it again. But
you're meaning downstate here where we live?
Yeah,
because Tip-Up Town in Houghton Lake, that they pull that one off every year.
Oh yeah.
Because it's always cold there and snowy and
it could be July.
So there's a little lake south of Jackson called Wilbur Lake.
Yeah, I think it was Big Nine. Now you say it.
The Big Nine sportsmen's clubs out there, and they have a fishing contest. And actually, it's a pretty big little deal. And they serve yummy breakfast that I always think I'm going to drive down to Pulaski. I
like breakfast
and take advantage of that yummy breakfast, and I never do.
There's no reason to go to Pulaski.
That would be the only reason to go to Pulaski.
Right.
Anyways, it is another Monday, Kevin. We did have a guest lined up. It's been kind of easy lately. They're wanting on the show.
Well, election season,
and we got a long ways to go in election season.
Yeah, we do.
But we had that forum here in Jackson, and our guest that I'm going to introduce here in a minute was scheduled for last Monday, but she was gracious enough to allow Anthony Forlini to jump in last week, and we rescheduled her for today.
Yeah.
And that was nice of her to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Forlini went over and said, hey, I've got a booking problem. And Genevieve, who is our next guest, said, hey, I think we can do that. So we had the flip-flop, and we appreciate it. I haven't scheduled anybody for next Monday yet, but I think I might see if we can't get Lena Epstein on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a feisty little thing.
Yep, she wanted on, and we're going into convention, and our goal is to get the convention candidates.
What did I say to you in Messenger? I'm like, I'm not sure what the U of M regent does, but I think I want Lena to do it.
Let me tell you, she was on fire at that.
She was killing it.
and I told Roger Victory, for MSU board. I said, well, that's a tough one to follow there because Lena was on fire on that one.
She had a little pep to her step.
All right. Our guest today.
Yes.
She was on fire at the forum also.
Yeah.
Candidate for U.S. Senate, Genevieve Peter Scott. Yeah. GPS. How are you, Genevieve? Oh, no.
You're still muted.
You might be still muted, Genevieve.
She is because I can.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, Russ.
How are
Thank
you,
for that
Genevieve?
great introduction.
Yeah, we try really hard. There we go. I forgot how the studio works, Kevin.
Our
guest, she's positioned right. You are. I'm all screwed up.
Yeah, well, sounds like a you problem.
And what's that stuff in front of us? You just doing?
I'm fixing audio. They can't see it though.
Producer stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Like I said in my introduction, you are a candidate for U.S. Senate. Big obligation there, U.S. Senate, and I'm happy that there's candidates for people to choose from, and I'm very happy about that. And I mentioned as we're leading into your introduction, we're trying really hard to get the candidates for the March state convention, and you're not one of them, but we're happy to get you on. And then as we proceed towards the primaries, we'll squeeze you on again. So this is a great early in your election campaign to introduce yourself. And that's exactly what we're going to do. You go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll build off questions from there.
Great. My name is Genevieve Peter Scott, and I'm running for the United States Senate. I am a Michigander, or Michiganian, as I like to say. Third generation.
I prefer Ganian.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I prefer Ganian because Whitmer always uses the other one.
Agreed, which is why my husband does not allow me to use that. He said it's just been ruined.
I thought it was just me thinking like that, but apparently not.
No,
I thought it was just me too.
Yeah, exactly, Kevin. So born and raised in Detroit, third generation Michiganian. And my dad worked at GM, built transmissions on the factory floor. My mom worked at the diner. My grandfather worked for Hudson Motor in Detroit. So deep roots here, and went all through school, Western Michigan, went to public school for my elementary and middle school. And then after I was bused, I am a victim of busing that happened back in the 70s, where we were taken out of our schools and shipped to a school that felt like hours away from our home. And then my parents put me into a all-girls Catholic school. Then I went to Western Michigan University, go Broncos, first-time national champions. We're very excited about that. And then I went 2 years to school in California.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I always say that I lived the American dream in Detroit, on the streets of Detroit, and where my parents owned their home. It was a very modest home, 2 bedrooms. Us girls, there were 6 of us in our family, 4 girls, and we made our attic into our bedrooms. But we owned it outright, and we hung out in the neighborhood, lots of kids out to play with. In fact, I was in a time where parents said, go outside until the streetlights come on. I mean, that was...
grass.
What's that?
I said, go and touch some grass.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just it was a beautiful time. And so, like I say, I was a victim of busing because bad government policy really destroyed that. And I really, truly believe that from that early age, I was in 7th grade. It was halfway through my 7th grade. I really believe that stuck with me in such a profound way because our neighborhood was completely destroyed. We went to school where people did not want us to be there, and we didn't want to be there. And it was all because government officials thought that would be a good idea. Yep. And it ended up being a colossal failure. And it cost me my childhood friends, my neighborhood. So from that point on, I think that I had this feeling that I have to be in that mix to make a difference and to stand up for people, for neighborhoods, for, everything and anything. And so that I believed in, that were our values. When I went to Western Michigan, I always say my claim to fame, and that's kind of how I started in politics. I had a political science minor, criminal justice major, and I had a professor that wanted to be in city council. And so we went out door knocking for him. We loved him. We didn't even know what he
That'll get your feet wet.
It's totally how we got our feet wet, and went door knocking for him, showed up at festivals, passed out his literature. And not only did he get elected, he literally just retired last year.
Oh, nice.
Don Cooney is his name, if you want to look him up.
He held political office all that time?
Yes.
Is what you're
Yes.
saying?
He's an icon.
Good.
Don Cooney.
All right.
He was a
Very
professor
cool.
at Western.
Kevin has a grandfather. I have a dad who was a 20-year township supervisor.
Wow.
Yep. He just,
Wow.
he
Okay.
just,
So you know.
he just retired last fall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Last fall, he didn't run again. Said he was done, and we were shocked. And no, it's a small rural community in Branch County. There wasn't a lot going on, but he took it seriously, and I love that dedication out of people like you just mentioned, or even my father. And there's others out there like that. So, because those aren't easy roles to hold. They're really not. I don't care if you're in a rural community or in a major community. They're not easy roles at all. So,
yeah. And they're kind of thankless.
Yeah, that's right. It isn't for the faint of heart.
Yep.
You're one of a kind, just like me. It's not for the faint of heart and ready to keep going at whatever we do. You mentioned something that stuck to me. Is when you were in junior high and they decided to bus you to other districts and basically break up your neighborhood. It's a great example that we're almost used to. Government thinking they have the solution. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And they never really thought that out, because what happened was so much of their tax base actually left the city. I mean, they didn't want anything to do with this busing, and it really collapsed a lot of again, their programs, because a major amount of people moved out. I mean, there were just for sale signs everywhere in our neighborhood. And, growing up, you don't think like that. You think that you're going to always have this neighborhood. You're always going to be able to, live there with your friends and find out how they grew up. And that was before social media, right? So, I mean, there were people that I didn't see for, 20 years.
Of course.
Right.
So, that, assuming, that was a Detroit neighborhood, right? Like many Detroit neighborhoods, correct? Is that where you grew up?
East side of Detroit. Yep. Nottingham.
And then that was, the start of depopulation of the city of Detroit. Do you think that's a big part of that? And of course, the job base started going away as years continued.
Yes, exactly. So, we started to see the blight, and that was a big part of it too, right? Because you got people that literally were, I'm sorry?
Yeah. People were moving to the suburbs. Yeah.
That's exactly what they were doing. And then people that couldn't move fast enough were just using other people's addresses so that they could go to school in the suburbs. I mean, it was really, and my parents, they didn't do any of that. We couldn't afford to move out, but so we had to stay. I had to stay in that school for a year and a half until, my dad got several different jobs so that he could send us to a school that, was, near in our neighborhood and safer.
You said you had 3 sisters, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so your father, your parents were faced with the challenge of sending you to a private school, which normally costs money. Mm-hmm. And your father had to figure that out. That's great. You don't hear of that anymore. Usually they're waiting for somebody else to help them figure it out. So, but I don't know. I made a mention about my age when we first met, and you indicated you're a little older than I am. I wouldn't have thought so. But, I guess we probably grew up in the same era, and neighborhoods were important. And Kevin being my son, now I grew up in a semi-rural Jackson County neighborhood. And Jackson County is different. It's pretty much a rural county. Of course, we have the city of Jackson. And then Kevin was fortunate enough to grow up in a rural Jackson County, semi-rural.
Yeah, very suburban.
Close to town, but close to cornfields.
Yep, very suburban.
Yeah. And but it's funny, and I'm sorry I go into some of my own stories sometimes, but you might relate. My wife grew up in the city of Ann Arbor. And loved her childhood, right? Pittsfield Township,
beautiful neighborhood.
You go through it now; it's not the same.
I imagine
the housings are getting older and this and that. And she moved to Jackson 25 plus years ago. She's now a for real Jackson person.
Jacksonian.
Jacksonian. We don't go to Ann Arbor for any reason. Every couple of years there might be something. We don't have to. But anyways, I was telling a story jokingly, but it was truthful. When you talk about our parents would say, get outside and play. Heck, my mother used to lock the door. Get out and play.
So did my father.
Yeah, she'd lock the screen door. You guys are staying out for a while. But in the winter, when we talk about winters like we're having now, I was telling my wife, and she was shocked by this. I says, have you ever tried road salt? What are you talking about? I said, when we were kids, and then we didn't do it often, we literally would pick the salt up off the road after the salt truck comes through and eat the road salt.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds dumb.
I've done it once at least.
But it's kid things. It's what kids do, little boys do.
We'd find chunks, throw them at each other.
And my wife looked at me and she goes, oh, apparently we figured out what's wrong with you. It was the road salt. But that's what
60s road salt, 70s road salt.
It was the whole neighborhood. We were out there screwing around in a road that you could play in and doing dumb things like eating road salt.
Well,
and I'm assuming there's still neighborhoods like that, but it's far and few between anymore. So
right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Do you remember when we used to go behind the cars? That was called shagging, where you would hitch up to the bumper.
The bumper? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thank goodness they don't do that anymore. But I mean,
know it was so dangerous.
That became popular.
So dangerous. Oh my gosh. All of our childhood, the guys in our neighborhood, all the boys in our neighborhood would do that. And it was scare me every time. But I thought, wow, I'm so glad that they don't do that anymore.
I'd seen a video just this morning of a young man on a snowboard. Doing that behind a car on a snowboard, but I think he knew who was driving the car and he was on a snowboard.
Okay.
The driver didn't know we were hitching to the bumper. We would just jump onto the back of a bumper of a car driving by 25 mile an hour.
That reemerged early 2000s with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater video game, because you could do that on the game. It was, and so kids on skateboards you'd see. Not very often, but I mean, you would still see it.
We did it with our galoshes on.
Yeah, exactly. So now, Russ, you actually mentioned that they're doing it now with the snowboarding. So that might actually be appealing to me, because I'm actually a snowboarder.
Oh,
I
very
can't
cool.
Snowboard. I can ski, can't snowboard.
You're not going to see.
I might have to look into that.
Yeah. Now I assume, and it was a quick video, and I assume the driver knew he was back there, and gosh, I don't know. He was hanging right onto the bumper, or maybe he had a little rope or something. But I thought, well, that reminds me when we used to jump on the back of bumpers and do that with our galoshes.
I saw a video with some Amish people doing it with skis.
Oh, wow.
Big wooden skis.
I couldn't tell, but they were definitely getting pulled by a buggy.
But what? Actually, that speaks to our point, though, about the American dream. We used to just figure this stuff out. We weren't in front of a computer. We weren't in front of our phones. We were literally figuring out, probably sometimes crazy, unsafe, dangerous ways to have fun. Yeah. But we did it. And we did it in the community with our friends and,
And none of us died.
Right.
Well, I mean, some of us, but not I
can't remember, but you would read about a dead kid.
Yeah,
doing
I
but
don't
not
remember.
my neighborhood. I remember people getting hurt real bad.
I remember a kid getting hit by a car at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But he was fine after like a month or so.
But we don't wish that.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. I
don't try this at home, kids. Don't try any of this at home.
No, and thank you for letting us get off the rails here. But it does bring up a good point that I've talked about on the show, Kevin and I. I think COVID was rough for our children, of course, with remote schooling and all that. But beyond that, and it started before COVID, kids not being outside as often as they used to, and I live on a lake in Jackson County, and since COVID's behind us and rolling into the Trump campaign, it might be timing. I bring in Trump into this because I would look out and I see more and more, mostly little boys, out playing, catching frogs, spearing carp, at the lake I live on, ice skating, playing hockey. This weekend, the lake was very active with all kinds of people, and kids out playing. 5-6 houses down, they shovel out a place to skate, and the boys were playing hockey. And what I've noticed last winter and this winter, it's cool for little boys to wear Trump hats. They would have Trump stocking hats on, and that pleases me. Not only the Trump part, but seeing them outside and do that. Now, I do have to put this in perspective, though. I live in a rural Jackson County community, and most of my neighbors, and I know their parents, are mostly Trump supporters. So luckily, a little bit of that is rubbing off on their children, because I also know parents whose children, great Trump supporters, Republicans, part of our membership, whose children are doing the complete opposite. You used to hear that more and more often. And I don't know if it's because I'm paying attention or whatever. I think the needle is moving a little bit. I hope so.
Yeah, I agree with you. Couple things. You guys had a fantastic gun show this weekend in Jackson.
I knew.
It was amazing.
Did you go to it?
I'm sorry?
You were there?
Yeah, so my team was there. We typically go to get signatures, as you know. We have our petitions that we need, and so we went to the Jackson one, not knowing what it was going to be like, and it was probably one of the best shows in the whole state. It was just phenomenal.
I'm glad to hear that, because I know gun shows are popping up all over the place, and then the weekend of our forum, many candidates had to leave and go to a gun show. I don't know, not close to Jackson. And then, I knew the Jackson Gun Show was coming up. And I remember thinking to myself, I wouldn't mind going to that, and didn't. And I did see where Mike Cox was there. I'd seen that on a social media post. And I didn't know who else was there. I'm glad to hear that your team was there or whatever. Yep. But I'm also super pleased that it's up there as far as gun shows go, huh?
Yeah, it was really good. And the reason I brought it up is because when you were saying about kids wearing Trump gear, so this young kid, he was probably in 3rd grade. He came up and he signed our petition. No, he didn't. Wait, let me get clarity. Let me clear that up. His father signed my petition, but he was wearing a Trump 2028 hat, and I was flabbergasted.
I want one.
I saw them online the other day.
Love you. Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. What was that?
I said I'd seen them for sale online just the other day. I didn't even remember where I was at, but it was just randomly popped up.
Yeah. So this kid had it on, and I said, hey, I love your hat. Tell me about it. And he goes, yeah, I got it. And I said, do you wear it? He actually said, I wear it to school. I said, really? I said, when you go to school, do they make you take it off? He said, no, I don't. Oh. I said, you know what? And I looked at his dad. I said, God bless you, because you've obviously instilled some real confidence in this young man to stand up for what he believes in, regardless of whether he thinks he's going to, get a certain, backlash or whatever. And he said he's fine with it. It was just so adorable.
I'm going to bet if he's a Jackson County kid, we have several small rural schools. And there's probably not much trouble with wearing a Trump hat or gear in most of them schools. And I see a kitty.
Yeah.
I'm a cat guy. I admit it. I like cats.
I love my cats. Names are Trump and Pence.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Gosh.
Yeah.
But now I think, shoot, even when I was in school, you had to take your hat off. No matter what the hat was.
That was a big thing. It's funny because even though, my politics didn't align the same as they do now back then, but I had a shirt that I was actually almost suspended over when I was in school. They were like, well, you can't wear any political anything for a while. But that was 2005. But
back to your point there, I think it's more acceptable in the last couple of years amongst the children's peers to, support Trump, kind of like mom and dad do. And I'm just super pleased that we're seeing more and more of that. And like I said, I don't know if it's because I'm paying attention or what it is, but I think there's something there.
I just hope that it sticks and it's not just the younger, like, oh, well, I want to wear the same hat dad has. Yeah. Because it's usually your teenage and later teenage years is when you start rebelling a little. So it depends if it sticks or is it just a pop culture fad. That's the only fear I'd have.
I do think that a lot of like when I mentioned members or good Republicans or Trump supporters, how their children go the opposite. A lot of it's because of rebellion.
Yeah,
I'm going to go the opposite. That's always going to occur, So I do get pleased though when I see things like that.
Well, I'll tell you, I also got a lot of, I want to say, really felt hopeful when I went to the State of the Youth conference that was in St. Clair, and the young people that were from all different organizations within, our movement were so in tune with what was going on and the way they spoke, how they articulated our values, how they asked questions, what they were concerned about. I mean, we walked away inspired. We truly did. And I do believe, and it's just the saddest thing that, Charlie Kirk had to be martyred for what he believed in, to really wake up even more youth. Yes. And I remember my husband making the comment after he passed, after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that, this person just created 100 more Charlie Kirks. And I do truly believe that is happening. People are, the youth are waking up.
Genevieve, prior to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, as the chair of the Jackson GOP, maybe that year leading into it, I tried to launch a youth coalition here at the Jackson GOP. And I had a heck of a time. I just couldn't get the traction I was looking for. I was looking at other counties, and Kalamazoo is a good example, and they have a huge youth coalition. And boy, we're all competitive. Most of us county chairs, many of us know each other well, but we're all competitive to a certain degree. And I was trying so hard to do that. And then the assassination of Charlie Kirk gave us membership. And to tell you the truth, two of our Turning Point young men, are in the office today.
Yeah,
they literally hang out and do things as a group randomly out of the blue here at the Jackson GOP headquarters. And as you know, our headquarters is unbelievable. And the section where that furniture is and the large screen TV, they just go over there and hang out, and that pleases me more than anything. It really does. I'm getting a little chills just thinking about it. Now, I want that group to grow even larger than it is. It's been somewhat of a slower grow than I would like, but it's there.
Continued involvement is going to help with that, though.
It's there.
Things like them just hanging out. Like, I mean, I'm here, random times, and they'll be. I see them in here all the time.
They love being up here.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
No, I think both of them still live at home. They're
that's helpful.
Around 20, and they still live at home, and I think it's a good way for them a place to go. But I'm pleased with that.
Like a little clubhouse.
I love Jackson GOP. You guys are amazing. Really. It's not just your location. It's your heart as well.
Genevieve, we're very proud of our headquarters. I'm very proud of our headquarters. We are a low financial resource county party. We always have been. And we're better than many throughout the state, 83 of them. We're better than many, but then there's others that really have way more finances than us. But the building that we're located in likes us. We've been here. We had a 30 by 30 office for a dozen years on the main floor in this building. And they were one of us, quietly one of us. They're running a business. You know how that is. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to have what we have. Some people come up, wow, Jackson GOP must have a lot of money. We don't. We're fortunate that the building that we're in allows us to be here, and they allow us to sublease space out and to a certain degree. And that's how we keep it together. But since doing that, what are we about? Just short of a year. I think April we had a ribbon cutting.
Kevin, April or I think March.
Yeah,
yeah.
So we're coming up on a year.
Yeah, almost a year. Well, I've been here a year, almost a year in March.
Okay,
so it might have been a little before, but
so it has increased donations. It's increased membership. It's increased involvement, and two things are going on here. Trump winning. Number one, people want to be on a winning team.
Always.
Yes. And this suite, when people come up and look at it, they're like, hey, I wouldn't mind being part of that group, And so we're very, very lucky in that regard. And we get a lot of compliments, especially when we have events like yourself.
Well, it is a beautiful little environment. And I think the big thing is they look at it and they're like, oh, instead of the rinky-dink Jackson GOP with their little tiny office, it's like, oh, they must have something going on. Of course you want to be part of that. Why wouldn't you?
As a county chair, you get discouraged at times. You think that growth isn't fast enough. But then when you look at the last 9 months, there has been growth.
Yeah.
So thank you for mentioning that. Let's get back to you, Genevieve. And so the question that I have is, what's been your career path? And then what ultimately led you to decide I'm going to run for United States Senate?
Yes. So as I've said, I've been working in grassroots politics for 4 decades now. And I have loved, just truly standing up for people that feel like their voices are not heard, because I have again, because of my background, I say it's in my DNA that I feel very called to stand up and speak out. It started when even, what's going on now with the whole illegal thing. So one of the biggest things was the sanctuary law, and that started in California. And it was, I took it upon myself. I built one of the largest coalitions to actually speak out against sanctuary law. I basically organized every different group and organization that was for the rule of law. And we started going to town halls and exposing what the sanctuary law really was, not what they were trying to perpetuate it as, and that it was protecting illegal criminals and it was against, Americans, not protecting Americans. So, in fact, interestingly enough, President Trump saw that because we really made a big difference, obviously going to all of these different town halls. And that was under an organization I have called Family America Project. And there's also a Family America Michigan. So anyone who's in Michigan, please join our Facebook page. We are very excited to continue to expand that Family America Michigan. And what it is, it's just bringing people together to, continue to work together to build our, make sure our values are being represented. As far as my background, it started out in education. And then I developed a program that took basically a broken school culture academically and behaviorally, and I reformed it. I reformed the culture completely. And you can actually still see the testimonials. I took that from the classroom and then built it into a full consulting business. It's my last name, Peters. My maiden name is now my middle name, Peters Procedures. And if you go on Facebook, you'll see teachers and students and parents, all of the testimonials that truly change lives. And then, I've also, not only that, I went, through the business, and then schools shut down during COVID and went into public service and started working for the third largest county in Michigan, which is Macomb County. Yep. And we completely reformed the election system there. There was a tremendous amount that a lot of things that needed to be tightened up, and we modernized them. We of elections. I brought in our state legislators. I brought in all bipartisan, and I brought in our local elected officials. And I had focus groups to actually solve problems. There were a lot of things that came up during, the amendments that were changed in the Constitution, the Michigan Constitution in Prop 2022. There was huge gaps in that. And I'm just someone that, I reform cultures. I take broken systems. I make them to where they're workable and they serve the American people. And, the skill sets that I've had, and everywhere I've gone, I've led and I've been a leader. I continue to, work towards, whether it's business or government. I've worked for two elected officials, one a statewide and one a county, one a constitutional appointment, actually. And I see how important it is to work together to make government work for people. And I need to take that skill set now to Washington because it's very broken.
Great path.
Yeah. I mean,
great path.
Yeah.
All right. You should probably run for U.S. Senate.
Yeah, maybe.
Absolutely. And it's time. It's time that I get up there. Like I say, I know how to deliver results. I'm a real world problem solver in business and government. I'm also a builder of people. Like I love people, and I love uniting people, and I love working together. I don't like to put labels on things because I think it further divides us. I want to solve problems. I want to get out there, but I also want to make sure that our voices are heard. I was in Monroe, at a press conference when there was a man that went into a girl's locker room in Ann Arbor, and the father sued that person. We stood in, total alliance with him. The rep Jim DeSana, he actually has a bill that wants to repeal red flag laws. I was in Lansing to support him and that legislation. I've stood strong against illegal mandates. In fact, I say that I'm the first one that publicly defied the mask mandate. If you want to wear masks, it's your business, but do not try and force me when there's no legislation to back that up. You can call the police on me and cite me for trespassing, but you cannot cite me for a mandate that has no legislative or constitutional backing to it. So I am that person that truly feels that the voices that are not heard, I will speak for them. I will make sure that their voices are heard. And I've done that my entire life.
I'm getting the impression now that I've got to know you a little bit better that you're genuine in your remarks like that.
Yes.
You do want to help. You're very approachable.
Thank you.
You can come up and pretty much ask anything, and you've been up here to Jackson a few times. You appeared at our Christmas party. I'm going to say unannounced, but it wasn't like we had invites. We were like, hey, please come to our Christmas party. And that's, I think, when I first met you. I did see your announcement prior to that and been keeping track of.
Oh, I lost you. Honey, he froze.
Oh, really?
Yep. Should I go to Wi-Fi?
I mean, you're coming through fine. Can you see us and hear
I
us?
can.
Okay.
Yeah, now I can. You guys completely froze.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and you did too a minute ago. So
it might have been a hiccup.
Yeah,
Okay.
All systems go now.
Yeah, I think
Great.
But you connected with the members that were at our Christmas party. One of them being Marcy Jankovich. And, Marcy Jankovich is a true leader to the Jackson GOP. She's been around a long, long time. She's been a former vice chair a couple of times under a couple of previous chairmen. And she, up until, I don't know, I guess the last term, she's always been on our executive committee. And she's always been the voice of reason. She can come out hard on an issue and then maybe stir the pot and then come make everybody come together and figure it out together. She's just one of those people. And she backed out of our executive committee because she is the state director of Women's for Gun Rights. Right. And you mentioned Rep. Jim DeSanta. He is not familiar to this podcast studio. Unfamiliar.
Oh, he's been here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
not unfamiliar.
He's not unfamiliar to this podcast studio. I think he's been in here a couple of times, hasn't he?
I've done
with Marcy.
Just one.
Oh, okay.
But it was like a 5-hour recording session. So,
so you connected with Marcy and others that were at our Christmas party, and there's an element here in Jackson that's all about Genevieve. And I'm so happy about that. I'm one of these. You fight like hell for your candidate in the primary, and after the primary, everybody come together and vote for the nominee. And Marcy's one of those people.
Yeah,
and she's fighting like hell for Genevieve.
Yes, she is.
And that's exactly what I like to see. And for you to connect with Marcy really helped probably connect with many more members than if you hadn't connected with Marcy.
Well, she's amazing. I mean, first of all, and I've learned about her background, and she's a fighter, and that's exactly what we need. I mean, that's why, as soon as I knew that she and I talk the same language, we feel the same way about, Michigan, about America, and about making sure that our constitutional rights are not trampled on, don't tread on me, then we knew we were, of the same mind, body, and spirit. So we definitely connected very early on, and then she's the one that invited me to Lansing, and I wanted to absolutely honor that commitment, and I did that, and I was so happy that she told me about that, because like I said, I absolutely do not believe in red flag laws at all, and I was very happy to go and support, again, our Constitution, because if they can start legislating against the Second Amendment, then they're coming for our First Amendment, they're coming for our Fourth Amendment, they're coming for our 10th Amendment. You better believe if they start cherry picking, and so we have to have a hard no, a hard stop on anything that's legislated against our God-given rights that are protected by the Constitution, not given by the Constitution, protected.
Shall not be infringed, right?
I was just thinking that, Kevin. Shall not be infringed. And they're constantly being infringed.
Absolutely.
Or trying to be.
And Marcy and other groups, Marcy's group and other groups are constantly fighting against that infringement.
Yes. Yes. And that's why I knew that we were of, soul sisters.
And she's been doing it for a very long time. She has been an activist for a very long time. She'll tell the story. All of a sudden we have the Marcy Jankovic show going on here, Kevin.
Yeah. Oh, out of nowhere.
But she'll tell the story, back in the 70s, she was a Democrat. She worked in Lansing, I think, for a state representative. And abortion issues ultimately got her to switch. So she was big into right to life issues, and then it morphed into that. That's still a cornerstone of why she exists.
Right.
And then it went into Second Amendment rights, and she's been doing that for several years. And I just want to tell an interesting story. And I got to be a little careful here, but I'm not going to be too careful.
Yeah.
So I was in Lansing with Marcy weeks before you met her in Lansing, whatever event they had going on then. A couple of weeks prior to that, Jim DeSanta put on an event with many state legislators and a presentation on how to get a hearing in front of the Judicial Committee to repeal red flag laws. And it was a great day, fall. I don't remember. Sometimes I don't like going to Lansing because you got to park your car and walk in the horrible weather, but I don't remember that being that bad that day. And then Marcy ends up, so the chair of the Judicial Committee is State Representative Sarah Leitner, who has represented Jackson for many years. And we have no problem with her as a state rep. We like her as a state rep. We like where she's gotten to in her position. But Marcy went up, and when in that presentation from Jim DeSanta and them, they're like, and I didn't realize this, we can't even get a hearing with our Republican-led judicial committee on this. And I'm like, wow. How can Republicans not get that hearing, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'll work on that in the next week. I'll get a hold of Sarah and try to figure this out. And long before I could even get home and even think about doing that, Marcy marched over to Sarah Leitner's office and said, what the heck? Right? That's how Marcy rolls.
Yeah.
That's how Marcy rolls. I mean, she didn't want to wait, and she went that day. And the response was weird. We don't need to go into that. And maybe I'm way off, but it wasn't 2 weeks later. They were announcing a hearing on that.
Yeah.
I love it. And I will guarantee you Marcy's efforts were the turning and the linchpin on that.
I think so too.
Because I think that, again, when we as Michiganians and Americans stand up and say enough is enough, and they know we aren't going to stop, they do have to listen at some point. I mean, that's, just it's just the truth. And that's why, one of the biggest things I talk about is representative government. We have got to get back to actual representative government. I mean, you see this stuff going on with the data centers, and they're literally filling up, stadiums of people against the data centers, and the people that have been elected to represent them are sitting there saying, no, we are actually going to push forward to get these data centers in these communities. That is not representative government. That is what we've got to bring back to Washington, to our counties, to our townships, to our cities. We've got to actually be representing the people that put us there. We have to make sure that the people that are elected remember who is paying their paycheck, who is sending them there, who they have to listen to actually make a difference for the people we represent. That's very disturbing. And, even like this, the health initiatives, the health standards that were recently changed, I'm one of those, too, that, when you feel strongly about something, you've got to let that voice be heard. And I wrote an op-ed that I wrote against the health standards, including gender fluidity and gender identity, was in the Detroit News. So people can find it. They can put my name out and then just put Detroit News op-ed if they want to find it. And they can also sign up on my website to get updates, and we'll send it to you that way. But basically what they did with this health standard, and which is why they actually published my op-ed, is no one was talking about the fact that they were misrepresenting the Elliott-Larsen law. So the Elliott-Larsen law is about access. It's about you can't discriminate based on access. And in 2022, when it was a totally blue legislature in Michigan, they were able to throw that in to the Elliott-Larsen law, right. The gender identity. All right, fine. So it's access. Well, then what they were doing is the Michigan Board of Education was saying, oh, well, Elliott-Larsen, now we've got to start teaching gender identity. No, you just cannot deny anyone access to education. It said nothing about actually putting that into the curriculum. And I called them out on it, and I told them how that was misrepresented. I also showed up to the Michigan Board of Education, and I put it on, and I read the entire op-ed that I had written on camera in front of the Board of Education. And I want them to know we see them and we see what they're doing. And they're being
they ignored all the people that were but they heard it. They know they know you see them.
Yep, exactly.
And that's I wished it was more than that, but it's a great start.
Yes.
I want to bring up a personal issue. I'm on a township board. I'm a trustee, and I've seen firsthand how community involvement works.
Mm-hmm.
Just started in October, Kevin. We had a rezoning request for heavy industrial from farm land and open spaces to heavy industrial, and it wasn't a data center. It could have been. The developer, I don't think it was, but the developer is one of these, which I smelt horse shit from the beginning. Was, well, I'm going to build it and they will come. We don't know what we're going to build, but we need the rezoning of heavy industrial, and then we will solicit a tenant and build to suit whoever that tenant is, and they gave a lot of examples of locations around the state that they have done this. And I'm on the Jackson Planning Commission, so I understand zoning a little bit. I'm not always thrilled with zoning, that it needs to exist, but there's reasons why it does exist. I think government has used it as a tool, and it's gotten out of hand. But I wish zoning didn't have to exist, but it does. Okay. And so I understand it a little bit, and I just wasn't comfortable, even though I thought the location would be a good location for, an industrial site. It was a former golf course that had closed, and, but people had built their homes around a golf course. And they never in a million years thought this would even be coming at them. And, if you do your due diligence, you look at the master plan, it said open spaces and farmland, so you're safe to build your dream home here or anything like that. And so it started off just the people, I don't know, a dozen or so around that golf course, matter in hell that this would even be considered.
Right.
And the October meeting the Planning Commission voted yes to rezone. The township one. The county planning commission said no, unanimously no. Now it's in front of the township board, and I was eager too. I was eager myself for development. Okay, I am eager for that, but I couldn't get over the hurdle that this ain't the place. Spot zoning isn't it. We just did the master plan 5 years ago or a couple of years ago, and people build their lives around that master plan. And now you're just going to skip all that process and insert that. So going into the October meeting, I think I was going to be the only no vote. The only no vote out of 7 of us. Now, one guy was on the fence, but I think he would have voted yes. I just happened to look down, and there's a trailer park associated near this property. And I noticed that the property management company had been notified of the rezoning. You have to notify everybody within so many feet of a rezoning. It just dumb luck. I said, hey, so right in the meeting, I said, so the residents of that trailer park don't need to be contacted directly of this, only the owner or the property management company. And the township clerk was quick to say, oh, yeah, just the owner of the property needs to be notified. The residents of the trailer park don't. And the township attorney was in the meeting with us, and he looked at MCL up right then and there. And he goes, you know what, guys? I think every one of them need to be notified.
Yeah.
Right? Which
absolutely
kicked the can a month and made the developer reapply. In that time frame of reapplying, actually, it was 2 months before it would get to the township board again, because they had to go through all those steps again. That gave time for the community to engage. And did they ever engage?
Sure did.
150 people crammed into our little township hall at the planning commission meeting and all this, and then our particular meeting. And that public outcry got the township board to say no to that rezoning. So I think people get the impression often, and I get why. What's my point of expressing my view? It doesn't matter. They're going to do what they do anyhow. But when you see it work, unfortunately, it took 150 people. It took 1,500 emails that I got. By the way, I responded to every email. Some of the board members didn't respond to any of them. I responded to them all. I thought it was a good way to campaign from my big boy chair in my living room. I just responded to the emails, in the future I'll remember that guy. But no, the people spoke and stopped it. So it does work. Now, nick of time, it almost didn't because people aren't engaged. Yes, the people next to the golf course were aware. Only 4 of them showed up the first time. I said in my comments at that meeting, y'all need to be connected a little bit more what's going on in your community, because this almost got approved, guys.
Right.
You need to once a month jump on the website, check out what's coming. We don't hide anything. Our whole board packets on the website. I just wish people, I understand you can't go to every meeting, but at least be engaged and aware what's coming on down the path.
Right.
But when you talk about people can change things.
Yeah. Well, and like what Genevieve was saying is, the representative government, you expect those elected officials to listen. And I think that's where the problem comes in is like you said, well, why would I speak up? They're going to do whatever they want to do anyway. So it is important to have situations like that where the people spoke, the representatives then voted with the people. And that's the way it should be.
Should it take 150 people to listen? I'll tell you one that makes you wonder. So when there's 4 people in there, a comment, I don't know if it was that meeting or somewhere other meeting it was at. Well, those 4 people don't represent all 16,000 residents of our township.
Yeah, but
or do those 150 people? Where's the rest of them?
Well, that's the problem. Is unless you're going to go talk to every single one, which is improbable and almost impossible. Those 4 people are the representatives. They are the constituents.
But you're not going to change your mind because 4 people are hollering and screaming.
Why
now,
not?
Then again, was there 4 people in favor of it? No. So maybe that's the balance.
Well, I'm just saying is now you got a sample amount of people. Is if the other people don't show up to voice their opinion, then they don't have an opinion in the vote.
Yeah.
So that's my feelings.
I'd like to know your opinion in a second here on that, Genevieve.
Yes. Yes.
It goes back to when I talked about my dad being a 20-year supervisor. It isn't easy to be a representative of your local government or your state government or your federal government. These jobs are not easy. You have to take in all the considerations and vote appropriately, and that's not an easy decision to always do. Like I said, Genevieve, I'm eager for development in my township, but it's got to be at the right place at the right time, right?
Absolutely. And it also has to be development that's actually going to give back to the community. You see, what's happening with the data centers. So first of all, there's very few permanent jobs.
Yeah.
There's actually no population growth with it because the data centers are pretty much automated, right? It's just really during the building stage.
Yeah.
It's not once they're up and running. You're actually going to lose property values because people are not going to want to be around that 24/7 humming sound. There's so many things, taking up our farmland. So it's incredibly important, Russ and Kevin, what you said about, standing up. In Kalkaska, I don't know if you remember, but the Rock Locker LLC, they stopped their data center in November of last year because of the significant amount of community opposition. And they had the same kind of concerns: public land, environmental impacts, the water use, the power grid strain, the noise. Just because of the lack of local support, they literally decided that the project was not feasible. And
now people in Saline, it didn't matter how much they yelled and screamed.
Right. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And we still can't allow that to be the final answer. I mean, really, it's not. This is our land. These are our communities. These are our elected officials, just like Goshen, where they literally took the entire.
I took a couple of trips to up to Big Rapids to protest that.
Yes. And I'm very involved with opposing the data centers here in Michigan. And I showed up, and I'll be in Monroe with Representative Dasana. I mean, it is a near and dear to my heart because it's near and dear to Michigan that they don't have it. It's not innovation. And it's not that we are, saying we don't want investment here, but we want investment that gives back to our communities. We want investment that gives jobs to our young people, that keeps our young people here in Michigan not having to go to other states. We want jobs that are lifelong careers that people can build around. And people and investment that come to our community that, again, aren't taking more than they're giving. So, and this data center, I literally call it the data center invasion, because it's just like all of a sudden, because of all of the corporate welfare, the subsidies, all of these things that are being offered to these companies that are making trillions of dollars. I mean, these are big tech companies that once all is said and done, we are left with the impact. We're left with the property values decreasing. We're left with the environmental impact. We're left with no jobs in our area, but a big eyesore. So I feel very strongly about this.
With data centers being a township trustee, and I believe me, I pay attention. I've been paying attention to all these communities, and I hear you, I hear everybody, but I also, on the flip side, you got Trump promoting them, you got Whitmer promoting them. If ultimately they're going to exist, sometimes I wonder if we can get our arms around all those things that you listed. Number one, why on our farmland? You take my township, there's plenty of already in heavy industrial zone property that, like that developer I was talking about, he could have located there. Same thing with a data center. If a data center wanted to take up a couple hundred acres on the already appropriately zoned property in my township, there isn't much you can do to stop it. Sometimes I wonder, would you rather live next to a data center or a foundry? Okay, the stinky foundries with the smoke coming up and the piles of soot in the corner that really don't employ a lot of people anymore. That might be because the foundry business doesn't exist as well.
Yeah, no.
So, and I think we're a long ways off for me to be comfortable. But from the water usage to why are they going to our farmland? You're a $1 trillion company. If heavy industrial already zoned property is a little more expensive, what would that matter? Why is the state or local governments given any tax incentive? We're talking the richest companies you've ever seen in the world.
Right.
Why would you give them a tax break is beyond me. And then I see where township officials are signing NDAs. That's
insane to me.
And I'm like, well, I don't know under what circumstance ever would I sign one of those. What's going on with that? So I think to myself, it seems like the list is awful long, but if we could get our arms around solving those problems, I would hate to miss out on whatever the data center boom provides. Okay, we can talk about, now they don't employ a lot of people. I don't know. You take my community and you employ 100 people, we could use it. But the construction boom for 5 years, every electrical company, every plumbing company, every concrete guy, all that. And then the maintenance with the service companies within your community that would probably be able to service them for a long time. There is a value there. But I think we're a long ways off from solving those problems. So where I think, so I've been paying attention to the Michigan Township Association has these attorneys, and they're recommending for townships, for example, to put a 1-year moratorium to stop them, even on your already heavy industrial zone properties. Give it time. These are too new. Is there a way to handle this water usage? Is there a way to deal with all these problems? In 2 years from now, do you think hopefully these problems are solved? The communities that jump right on it, you're dealing with all those problems.
I did some research personally, and first of all, they're not that new. They've been around since the 50s.
You're right.
Second of all,
they're not as massive as they are now, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, the first one was because the computers had to be much larger,
right?
But the water issue, which one of the biggest issues I foresee in it, the initial impact is substantial, but they actually use they basically use the same water.
Yeah, I know. They
over and over again.
They call it closed loop.
Yeah, and so like I said, I'm torn because I'm with you in the fact that we're going to get them either way.
They're going to go somewhere.
And now as far as it's the farmland, you're like, well, why wouldn't they have all this money? Well, that's why rich people are rich, because they save money somewhere. You've been a business owner, if you can pinch a couple pennies, why wouldn't you?
Kevin said it is, I think Michigan needs to be very, very careful when it comes to data centers.
Yes.
But I don't think we should say never, ever data centers in Michigan. So they're going to exist in the United States one way or another. So,
and regardless, it's still tax revenue as long as the corporate welfare doesn't exist, because that's one thing doesn't make any sense to me.
Do you prefer every data center to go somewhere else and to another state, Genevieve?
Well, okay, so let's kind of go back to the
Sorry we got into this. It is a difficult conversation.
No, this is important because this is actually happening in Michigan, and this is affecting Michiganians everywhere. I mean, this is not.
We don't live far from Saline, I'll tell you that. So we're
right. Well, we already have 52 data centers in Michigan already, and they're already now trying to get hyper data centers. There's 8 of them on the books. Saline, obviously, one of them. Mason, going on. But we've got to look at how utilities pay for power.
That's the big one. That is the big one.
It is. And they have regional markets. So just an example, there's a PJM market, and they have a capacity auction every year. So last year, the auction broke all records in pricing. It was up 800%, a massive increase in costs, right? So when they pay higher prices for their capacity, they pass it on to the consumer.
Of course.
So when data centers, they're responsible for 63% of last year's price increase because they're paying more and then we're paying more. So see, ultimately we are paying it. So we saw, our electric bill is just through the roof. So the end consumer is having to pay higher prices while the wealthy corporations build these data centers. And we're seeing this happening across the entire country. It's not just Michigan. Yep. So there's, one way we can start addressing the supply and demand issue is to bring new power supply to the grid. Yep. But how do we pay for that? Well, guess what? The end ratepayer pays.
Make them pay.
Exactly.
They're the billion-dollar companies. Build your own power source. Right. That's where I'm at.
But here's the problem, Kevin and Russ. The business model that was set up for the utilities is more than 100 years old. And it was designed to spread electricity when you and I were growing up over all of the ratepayers, right? That was, the design, and that worked, right? Because obviously we're all using electricity. We're all going to pay that's the price. Well, now we've got these huge drains on our electrical grid, the data center, that are using way more, than any normal household. In fact, it's actually
more than cities.
Right. Exactly. And so what they do is then they go, okay, well, now we've got to build more infrastructure. So that's another part of the electric bill. They're, put that into the part of our electric bill that we're paying for. So this growth, it's a great excuse to build infrastructure that we're actually paying for. So they say, well, we got to build the infrastructure. Well, we're paying for their infrastructure.
If there's a solution to that we could get to, would that change along with the other issues that we've mentioned here today? That's a big one. I don't want to pay for their infrastructure. If we can get our arms around those things, I think there's still going to be major outcry that these exist. And I do feel that as another state, Indiana or whoever, does that, 10 years down the road, we're going to be, we missed out on that. But then yet I'm like, we have to wait and solve these problems first.
Okay. I don't know. I understand what you're saying, and I don't think the technology is caught up because I don't want a data center taking up 3,000 acres of our farmland.
No.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that,
solar panels has done enough of that.
I'm sorry?
Solar panels have done enough of that.
Oh my gosh. And that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
But you also have to think about these utility CEOs. Do you know that, let's say Southern, the CEO.
Let's remind everybody that we're located across the street from Consumers Energy corporate headquarters, Jackson, Michigan. When you look out the window of the Jackson GOP headquarters, that's what you look at.
Right there.
So we're quite familiar of Consumers Energy and how they like to be profitable.
Yeah.
Okay, so and this is all public knowledge, but just so you know, the compensation for the top utility CEOs, okay, and this was just a few years ago, the top compensation, and this was for Southern Company, that's the name of the energy company, was $33 million. That's for one person, Tom Fanning.
Yep.
He made $33 million in salary just for his energy company.
Yep.
Semper Energy, $27 million. That was Jeffrey Martin.
So I forget the numbers. We had a CEO of Consumers Energy, and she was probably the highest paid person in Jackson County.
Easily.
Probably one of them in the state. And I live on a chain of 7 lakes, and she lived on one of those 7 lakes. Amazing, her home.
Yeah.
But anyways, good for her, right? But, she up and left, went for a major power company in California and doubled her multi-million-dollar wage. Those people don't care about you and I.
No. And they have a monopoly, and there's a monopoly here in Michigan. Are the three energy companies, and on both sides of the aisle, because I've talked to the legislatures, they're lobbying them hard.
Yeah. They're paying in state house seats to get people over the line. It happened down here in Hillsdale and Branch County. I'm sure it's happened to ours. Insert $40,000 in a primary to get their person elected, and these politicians snap up that money.
Right.
I get it.
And you mentioned earlier about President Trump, he's very excited about investment in, our communities, I love our president. I think he's doing an amazing job. He's doing, everything that we voted for in terms of trying to keep our country safe and securing our borders and all of that. And I think that his intention is good, saying, hey, we want this investment. We want it in America. But I think that it is up to the states to decide if certain investment is a good fit for the state or not a good fit.
Don't you think that we're a prime target because of our water?
100%.
Exactly.
And also our cold weather, because that also cuts down on their energy costs, because you have to remember it's energy 24/7. The heat that's generated from these data centers is astronomical, and they have to cool it. So obviously they don't burn out. So the cooler weather, our lakes, this is exactly why we need to fight back, because it's not a good fit for Michigan, because we are an agricultural
I'm going to totally agree with you. I think it's not a good fit for Michigan now.
Right.
I don't want to close the door if we can get our arms around a lot of these issues that we talked about. I don't know if we ever can get our arms around them. Those are catastrophic, big, monumental things we got to get our arms around.
I think it's coming down to you have to weigh the goods and the bads and the good and the evil on it. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, there's eventually going to be a tipping point, but I agree. I think it is too early in the game to make that call, and because we're not looking at the long-term impact.
So something recently that made me really question all this is your community. The state gives them huge tax breaks. The local township gives them huge tax breaks. They build this monstrosity. 15 years down the road, the technology changes, and then they leave for another location, and you're stuck with this monstrosity that you never picked up 1 cent of tax money from.
Right.
That's a huge, huge problem. Then you're dealt with whatever the hell they left you.
That's right.
That's a huge fear too. I think that communities probably say, hey, not only we're not going to give you incentives, but you got to give us a 50-year commitment or something, Right. That concerns me a great lot. And I can't get over why they want to be on our farmland, even if it's to save money, because
it's the only reason. That's the only thing they care about is money.
I can't get over that. Now, there's also property owner rights. Hey, you don't blame these farmers. Farmers, it's tough to farm, make a buck. And then all of a sudden, this company comes and waves a bunch of money around here.
$80 billion or something crazy.
I've got 3 generations in Saline, Michigan, but you know what? I don't really care right now because I'm going to take this money and I'm out of here, So it's quite the challenge, Genevieve.
Yeah. It is. And that's where basically, kind of full circle to, the beginning of what we were talking about, standing up for Michigan, for our state, for America. We have to be those people. We have to be those communities because like I said, as much as we love our president, he is not a Michiganian, and we have to stand for our own
They're probably not considering a massive data center in West Palm Beach next to Mar-a-Lago, are they?
Exactly. And so what he did, and this is the other thing that has made it, really, I want to say problematic, but I know his intentions were good. So in February of last year, he signed an executive order that stated that it's Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, it's called FERC, F-E-R-C, that they would fast track approvals and for the data centers nationwide. Under an emergency document with the executive order. Now, why that was good for him, right, is because, again, he didn't want to slow down progress.
Yeah, he's trying to beat out China, right.
Investment, exactly. So again, I understand the intent, but we as Michiganians have to realize, is it okay? Is it something that we want? Even though, great, okay, if it was something we want, but I believe the investment that we want in Michigan is actually where we bring our young folks, bring our people into building things and making things and manufacturing again and being that engine that we were to the world. I believe that's what we need to open up our doors in our state to.
There was a candidate for governor, I forget which one, but he said, Michigan went from a manufacturing state to an assembly state. And guess what? Assembly doesn't pay as well. Jackson, Michigan. We are an industrial town. Blue collar, go to work. Yeah. Either you're in construction or you're working at one of the manufacturers here in town.
Yeah.
But when that candidate for governor said that, I went, you know what? All these people I know that work in these plants in Jackson, which many have closed down in my lifetime, believe me.
Yep.
I've seen them.
I don't know many that are still around.
You know what? They're not manufacturers, they're assembly. It's not skilled trades, it's assembly. You just walk out of high school or not even a GED and you get a job at one of these Japanese plants that are in town. That's the larger employers. And you're just putting a piece on a piece. And it's not really manufacturing, it's assembly. And there is a difference. We have become an assembly state, not a manufacturing state. And we need to figure out a way to get back to being a manufacturing state.
I love that distinction, Russ. I absolutely love that distinction because
we're employing people. These places are employing people, but are they employing people to the level of middle class? Because they're really not.
Yeah, well, you can tell by the salary. There was a sign just not far from here. One of the big factories, companies, or whatever, they were only paying $17 an hour.
Kevin, I know what you're talking about. The certainty.
They had the like little yard signs, and it was like great benefits, $17 an hour, and I'm like.
I think you and I talked about this on the show. They make vinyl siding. Yeah. It's a major place.
Huge.
And we can't find employees. Starting wage $17 an hour. Kevin and I worked at a grocery store temporarily, and it paid more than $17 an hour.
Well, right down the street at McDonald's, you can work a whole lot less for $15, $16 an hour.
So, but you know why? They don't need skilled trades.
Yeah, exactly.
They just need people to show up and
put the square peg in the square hole and
take the blue siding and put it in the box that the blue siding goes to in the beige. It's thankfully those jobs exist, but guess what? The husband and the wife both have to work there,
and they're not the jobs they used to be. The benefits and the retirements and everything are not there like they used to be.
Not.
Yeah. And that's why one of my things, it's actually on my website, I've written several bills, and one of them is to actually restore having skilled trades in our schools starting in middle school. And I actually want to create Michigan as a model state for that. I mean, we would be absolutely perfect. And that's skilled trades. In fact, Tim Cook from Apple said that was one of the reasons that he took his business overseas. He couldn't find skilled trades.
Yeah.
Currently, we have 219,000 jobs that are unfilled in Michigan right now. And it's actually, public knowledge because, again, the skilled trades gap. So we have a real opportunity here, Kevin and Russ, that we could start our middle school kids, get them off their phones, get them off the computer, start building things and working. And even if it's technology based, I mean, that could also be innovation too, but it could be building, robotics for health companies or whatever it is. But let's start them learning this in middle school.
Genevieve, I'm old, but I started shop class in junior high. And
I didn't even have a shop class in high school.
And through high school. No, I am not a fix-it guy. I'm not a builder. I'm not, okay? Kevin knows that.
Yeah, I don't know where Matt got it from.
I don't know what my talents are, but they're not with my hands building and fixing things, skilled trades. But I will say what that did for me is when I take my car to the mechanic, I somewhat know what the hell they're talking about. Or if I'm talking to my brother-in-law who is a builder, a successful builder, I know what the hell he's talking about. And too many people now, you go take a car to the mechanic. What's the Seinfeld thing? You need a new Johnson rod on your car for $1,400, and you just buy the Johnson rod, and it don't exist. You're not going to run that by me. Well, I'm old, and you start learning, but I think a lot of that had to do with just basic knowledge that they taught us in high school. Let alone how many people that I know are retiring from skilled trades because it started in those shop classes when I was a kid.
Well, and then you go into my generation where it wasn't skilled trades weren't looked down upon, but no, it was always a push. Go to college, graduate, go to college, graduate, go to college, not go to trade school, not learn a craft.
We don't build.
Yeah, I mean, the few people that I know that went into some kind of skilled trade, kids I graduated with,
they're more money.
Very well.
They're making more money than the people that that went to college and had a 4-year degree, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Not to put that 4-year degree down.
No, but that's the push, and I think that's the uphill battle as well. Not just technology and putting down the phones and actually going and doing something is one big thing, but and I've been told at least that schools are kind of going back towards the trade school, but I mean I don't know that.
I once took a whole year career center building maintenance trade, Kevin, and you know what? Me and my building maintenance is not there, but it was there, and I know a lot of people my generation. That have run successul construction companies.
Absolutely. Being a contractor is still a huge
welders. Gilbert Ramirez,
welders,
on and on. And I'd love to see that come back. And I'm glad you're talking about it. Yeah. And we'll have a big ribbon cutting one day together with the brand new data center, right?
Oh, no. No. We want no. And no, we can have a ribbon cutting party for the first school that starts their skilled trades program from middle school to 12th grade so that they're completely employment ready. And I'm also proposing that private business, not taxpayers, pay for this so that we get it. These are the people that are going to
they're the ones that need the skilled trade.
Yeah, it's a farm system.
Right, exactly. And why put it on the backs of our hardworking Americans? Let's put it on the backs of the people that actually need the employment, and they have a stake in making sure that these our young folks are trained.
Genevieve, we went long, and that's awesome that we did because there's always lots to talk about.
Always.
And Kevin and I always say it, we could be on here for another 2 hours and not get to them. I appreciate it an awful lot. I do want to bring something up to you, and maybe I can get you to Jackson to check this out. In the building that the Jackson GOP is, the owner of the building when he bought this building. He bought a daycare that's within the building, and it was just a regular daycare. He has a method where he has 3 and 4-year-olds reading at his daycare right here in Jackson.
100%.
It's unbelievable. I brought some other candidates through there with amazement. He's had his struggles connecting additional funding. He's not looking for money, but he's looking for organizations and people's thought process on how to expand his technique, and it's phonics based, his technique. He is teaching children how to read before they even get to kindergarten. And I know that's a big push. All the candidates are talking about, especially the ones for governor, are all talking about our lack of education. Our children are far behind. And right here in Jackson, the owner of the building has 3 and 4-year-olds reading in his daycare. And you know where we're located, downtown Jackson. It's I hate the word. It's somewhat underprivileged children that go to this daycare, and he has them reading. So I'll connect with you in the coming weeks. Maybe you can take a trip one day, and I'll hook up and you can see this, because it's something amazing that can be done. So
I would love to. I would absolutely love to go there and meet him and see these beautiful children and their amazing accomplishment. So doable. It's absolutely doable. And that's why when you think of when we were growing up, our schools in Michigan were absolutely number one. We were the pride of the nation, really. Yeah. And to be now 44th and 45th is absolutely unacceptable and dismal. And and that's why I also support the Department of Education being completely eliminated, because once that federal oversight and the federal top down started taking away local control of our schools, it just continued to go down further and further.
You know, I love that idea. And I'm rooting for it, but I'm also fearful. And I asked Congressman Wahlberg this one time. I said, that'd be great. Eliminate the federal Board of Education.
Department of Education.
I says, but I don't want to put it and give it to the states. But I'm worried about putting it in the lap of our state with the people that are running our state currently. They'll screw it up even worse.
Right.
And but it's long term. We're going to switch that in the beginning in our intro. You hear me say, and I firmly believe this, that the political climate in Michigan is going to be much, much better in 2027.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, to your point about, bringing school and education locally, and the key is exactly that it becomes local and we can start to vote out those people. It's now all on us. Like, what happens in Michigan is Michigan. It has nothing to do with the federal government anymore. And now we can really start opening up our eyes on who's really leading us down to this path of, no return. And we can't have those people in office anymore. And
with any luck, Genevieve, time you're elected as the U.S. Senator, you're elected. Time you get there, maybe once you get there, guess what? Y'all might not have much to do.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Trump already fixed it all.
Yeah. But I'll tell you.
But I don't think that's going to be the case yet.
Wait, I'm sorry?
I don't think that's going to be the case yet, but,
No, they'd actually have to start doing some more work now and stop resting on their laurels after the big, beautiful bill. But what I would do if that was the case is I'd go in there, start repealing laws that have taken away our freedoms and that continue to overreach the American liberties and the independent, and our constitutional rights that are protected. So that's what I would do if that was the case and I didn't have anything else to do. I'd start repealing those laws.
The freedom fighter.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned it a couple of times. What is your website?
I was just going to ask that, Kevin. We'll wrap this up with you, but we always, what Kevin was alluding to, we always give you a final say, how to find you, how to connect you, where you're going to be next, where people can meet you, anything you want to say before we cut you loose, unfortunately.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, first and foremost, it was truly an honor to be on the show with both Kevin and Russ. Thank you so much
Thank you for being here.
For this opportunity. And second of all, I love Michigan. I love America. And I am someone that has not only led initiatives, I've reformed systems, reshaped culture, and I am definitely, it's very important for me to restore public trust. My thing that I'm truly guided by truth. I am driven to serve, and I will never forget that I'm answerable to the people of this great state of Michigan. These are things that exactly what I plan to do when I become the next United States Senator. Michigan is truly ready for new leadership, and where they can reach me is GPS for Senate, because Genevieve Peters Scott. My initials are, what are they, Kevin and Russ?
GPS.
That's right.
Yes. Or like the number, or 4 spelled out?
Thank you. 4 spelled out.
Okay, thank you.
GPS, because I'm the right direction for Michigan. And they can reach me there. They can sign up to volunteer. They can sign up to get our updates. We would just love to connect with everyone here. We are in a big push for our petition signing. So if you want to reach out, we would love for you to reach out. If you've got a space that we can come and invite folks to sign petitions, we would definitely welcome that. So again, just so happy to be here, and thank you so much for this opportunity, and God bless you
for being on. There are petitions available for your candidacy here at the Jackson GOP headquarters.
Awesome.
You can go to jacksongop.org and find out our hours. We're here a lot, and you can sign the petition for Genevieve if that's what you want to do. It is available up here.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being on. I can't wait to run into you again. I'm sure you'll be in Jackson, or I'll see you at an event. Me and my friend Todd Gilman, the chair of Monroe County, we like to go events. We get in the car and we go to them often. And we have taken a few weeks off, but we'll probably start popping that out again. And I'm sure I'll see you soon. And good luck on your candidacy. Good luck getting your signatures, It takes a lot of work to do, and it takes a lot of guts. It's not for the faint of heart, right?
That's right. Well, like I said, I've never backed down from a challenge, and I've always felt strongly about, needing to be the voice of the people. So it is truly my honor to be in this position.
Thank you, Genevieve.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, I cut a lot of clips from these shows. I think we got quite a few clips that'll be available. I will send them to you, and then you can use them or not use them. I don't really care. We post them on our social media platforms, and you can do the same thing when I send them to you. So, yeah,
excellent.
Thank you for being on.
We will absolutely do so. This has been a joy.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. God bless you.
Bless you. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
the Freedom Fighter.
Yeah. Check another one off the checklist. Now
you know what?
I think that's the first candidate for
Senate
we've had.
Yeah, my boy Mike Rogers. I haven't even scored him yet.
Nah.
He's going to be living up here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's renting space up here.
Yeah. Well,
maybe I can get him on.
Yeah, maybe.
It's going to be a whole different. Genevieve and Mike Rogers are different candidates.
Yeah,
now, let me tell you,
that's important to have. Though,
if she keeps talking like that campaign will get more and more traction.
Yeah,
she might have jumped in a little late for it, but that campaign's Genevieve, I could see making some traction.
Yeah, I mean, if
she gets some signatures together, that could be an interesting primary.
She's hitting some very, I think, strong points that are resonating to people, that will resonate to people, and are resonating to people. Definitely. That went a lot longer than I thought it would. Yeah, I just thought you guys were just gonna get married and hang out forever.
I thought she liked you better.
Yeah, well,
but data centers got hung up on the data centers.
Yeah, well, and I think data centers is a big thing, and like I said, I'm very torn about it because there's a lot of misinformation on either side, both for and against data centers, and I
was told by somebody that went to Virginia where there's a lot of data centers.
Mm-hmm.
And that person told me none of them hum.
Yeah, I've heard. I have a friend that lives, I don't know, very near there. And now, when I was doing my research, I
don't want to live next to a home.
I guess the biggest noise isn't so much from the data center; it's from the cooling. Fans or whatever from the data center. And I mean, again, this is just a quick.
Why don't they plop them on already heavy industrial property?
To save money.
I know that. My
billionaires are millionaires.
Do you know that the road is paved to do so? And the heavy industrial property sits around everywhere, and there will be outcry. But guess what? Most of that property has been zoned that way for decades.
Yeah. Well, the other issue I see, especially in Jackson, is because John Wilson's very big about, hey, what about this property? Well, it's already half developed. It's now instead of
there's way more though.
But yeah, being able to just come in and build exactly what you want. Instead, you got to do demolition. You got to worry about containment.
Let's say you're going to buy 50 acres. 50 acres of heavy industrial.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not in the real estate business. And I think this is what it comes down to. I need 50 acres heavy industrial. All right, well, that's going to cost you $50 million.
Right.
Shoot, I got this old golf course over here. It's got 50 acres. All I got to do is give them $3 million.
Yeah.
And get it rezoned.
I don't care who you are. $47 million is a lot of money.
I think that's the game.
It's all about money.
I'm making numbers up. What the hell do I know? But that is the game.
It's all about money, and they don't care about the farmlands and the wildlife because they don't live here.
And those poor farmers are like, yeah, cash me out, man. And I've been working too hard.
And the problem is that you may be your family's 4 generations on this farm. Well, this generation now is like, I don't really want to.
Yeah, no one's farming.
And, they're leasing it out to.
My favorite reels are farmers. I watch a pig farmer out of Iowa.
Yeah,
they break it down. Those are my favorite reels if I'm on reels. So. All right. Great interview, Kevin.
Yeah. I think
there will be a lot of clips out of that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I really do. She hit a lot of good points, and we let her do so. So we've got some announcements, and then we'll get the heck out of here.
Okay.
Very sad announcement that many people already know. And I'm just going to read the obituary a little bit here. Yes, somebody passed away. It's very, very sad. And guess what? Can't bring it up now. I'll get it though. Our state representative, Kathy Schmaltz, her 31-year-old son passed away unexpectedly a couple of Fridays ago.
Yeah.
And what it says here, age 31, died unexpectedly after a brief illness on January 16th, 2026 in Santa Monica, California. Chris was born on July 20th, 1994 in Jackson, Michigan. He's a graduate of honors from Lumen Christi High School in Jackson in 2012. He went and graduated. He got into education. I'll shorten it up here. Moved to California. Just an all-around great young man, and unexpectedly passed away. And it's sad moment for the citizens of Jackson and the Jackson GOP.
Yeah.
The funeral is this Thursday, 11 o'clock at Queens Catholic Church on the west side of town.
I recommend getting there early. It's going to be a big one.
It's going to be, and of course, many of us knew the next day that it happened. And of course, everybody was giving the family some space to grieve. I can't imagine the grief that they're going through. So prayers, thoughts, all that stuff to Kathy Schmaltz and her family. A sad moment, but I wanted to make that announcement now that I can. The obituary came out today, I guess. So there's that.
Yeah, there's that.
Yes. Guess what, Kevin?
What?
Another candidate for governor.
Another one.
Perry Johnson's back in the game.
Well,
quality control, Perry Johnson. He announced over the weekend, I read it this morning, he's back in. He is joining the already crowded group of people running for governor on the Republican ticket. I know Perry a little bit. Met him. Kind of like the guy.
Yeah.
I kind of like the guy.
Yeah.
I wished he wouldn't have jumped in, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's kind of becoming very Ralph Nader-ish.
And then Vice grassroots vice chair of the Michigan Republican Party announced over the weekend that 2 others have jumped in it. I don't know who the heck they are. One of them, I guess, ran 4 years ago. I guess someone made mention in the comments that individual, I didn't write the name down, has always advocated for a third party, but yet he still keeps jumping on the Republican ticket to run for governor, apparently.
Yeah.
So anyways, the plot thickens.
The plot thickens. Well, it just gets more jumbled.
With candidates for governor. So here we are. That primary isn't until August. We got a long ways to go.
Time.
Now the signatures are due in April. Some of them may fall off. Perry Johnson will get his. He pays for them, I suspect. He did that last time, and he had a whole bunch of the companies he hired provided bogus signatures, and they didn't put him on the ballot.
Oh.
Now, part of that, it was other candidates, too, was probably the Democrats playing their games.
No.
I expect Perry to get his. It's unknown. Come on, Kevin. You and I know the top tier candidates are going to get theirs or already have. I heard Mike Cox already has his. I'm certain Tom Leonard does too, and Eric Nesbitt. These others have to obtain them, and there is a process where you can hire a company to obtain those signatures for you, and Perry Johnson has enough money to pay for that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I was just looking it over. Perry Johnson's already pledged to spend $9 million of his money.
Drop in the bucket, Kevin.
Yeah.
If you and I go to lunch, pick your place. It doesn't matter. You and I go and spend $100 on lunch today. It'd be different than him dropping $9 million. You and I would be bummed out over that 100.
Yeah, I would.
$9 million, Perry Johnson. Let's do it.
I'd have to find a place to live and shit.
I like those businessmen type of candidates, though.
Yeah.
Remember, Kevin, I've said it before. Rick Snyder saved this state.
Yeah, he did.
He saved the state from who I think was a worse governor than Whitmer was Jenny from the Block Granholm. She termed out, and Rick Snyder come in that first term, he saved this state.
Well,
now, he did a lot of things in his second term that I'm not completely thrilled with, but he brought the business sense to the governor's house, to state government, and saved the state. And those kind of guys like Perry Johnson, like Trump.
Yeah, actually, Trump.
They look at things differently.
I remember way back 2013, probably 12, 13. When Trump was kind of toying with the idea of running. And I was like, everybody's all, whatever about it. And I was like, we need a businessman to pull us out of this. And it worked.
Someone once told me, Russ, you can talk about running government like a business all you want. It can't be done.
But it is a business.
But I'm going to tell you what. I've learned. It can't all the way be done. It can't totally be ran like a business, but you certainly can try, and you can do more and more and more things to try to run it like a business, not like a runaway train.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's worked. We've seen it work.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have budgets, you have to have income, you have to have, it's got to outweigh your expenses.
Quit counting on government to solve all of our problems, like Genevieve talked about with the busing way back in the 70s.
Or hold our representatives accountable when they don't listen to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty simple.
So the Perry Johnson's in, so that's going to change the game. It's probably, his money's probably going to worry a lot of the other candidates.
Yeah. I was just thought it was weird. I was just reading, they're listing off all of the candidates. Most of them we know. But it mentions that John James is leading the polls.
Of course.
And Tudor Dixon is drawing significant support despite not officially entering the race. So they're just throwing her name in there?
I read that.
I thought that was fun. I just thought it was
Listen, funny. I don't remember. I remember Tudor. I was a Ryan Kelly guy, minding my own business, and there's other candidates, and it was out of the blue. Tudor's name was surfacing. And the next thing I know, she's the nominee.
I think she was a sacrificial lamb. because she didn't really get much support from the party.
No, she didn't.
And I mean, I don't know much about her. I don't know if she.
It's more than the party.
Yeah, but you expect more from it party, and I think it was a sacrificial lamb.
I hope that doesn't happen again that.
I agree. It can't.
I'm not on the John James train by no means. But if he ended up surfacing as the nominee, it's still, and I like Tudor a lot. I know Tudor. She's cool. I like Tudor a lot. She probably would have been a pretty good governor. But I don't think we have the same situation. But who knows what they're going to pull. I don't think the same situation is with John James. But I'm not thrilled about John James. I don't know how John James is leading in the polls, but
name recognition.
Right. And he has the smartest campaign staff, who I have no idea who it is. They played this smart. Yeah, you don't have to run around and go talk to all these connected Republicans, waste your time at Lincoln Day dinners and straw polls and all this stuff. You just keep your mouth shut, show up here and there or wherever, and you're going to start seeing more and more out of him as we lead into August. It's like the slow roll. And then they put out polls in communities near his congressional district and around, or even ask my Republican voting neighbors. They're like, I don't know any of these people. Oh, heard that John James? Yeah. Okay, that's the guy. All of a sudden, you're reading the poll. So in a way, it's a campaign strategy that frickin' works.
Well, like I said before the show, it's you're hoping that the other candidates run out of money, run out of steam, let them, he's already got the name recognition.
So, Mike Cox.
Yeah.
I forgot who that guy was until they reminded me. Oh, he was a pretty badass attorney general.
Yeah.
Kevin, you didn't know who the hell it was, right?
No, I was reminded.
Okay.
I don't remember when I don't specifically remember him being attorney general. I just have heard the stories.
So there's a name. Yeah. Tom Leonard.
Tom Leonard?
Okay. I'm politically involved, so I supported Tom Leonard in his run for attorney general that he lost. And I do remember him being the Speaker of the House for the State House of Representatives. But you had to remind me.
Yeah.
What about my neighbors? Do they remember? But for some reason, I've heard of John James.
Yeah. Well,
they're playing on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Eric Nesbitt is our current Michigan Senate minority leader.
Yeah, I was just reading. Yep.
But I don't know how many people know that.
How many people, though, can ever name the Senate majority or minority leader?
I can, but I don't think my neighbors can.
You don't count.
I know I don't.
Because I wouldn't have been able.
You would, because you do this show with me and I talk about it.
Other than that,
right.
I don't.
How many times do I reference my Republican voting neighbors? Yeah. All the time.
Yeah. Well, it's like I think about my neighbors. Could any of my neighbors name?
Your neighbors don't vote.
Well, one might.
Yeah, she might.
There might be one, but the other one, I don't. Her name's Peanut.
And that's like a real name too.
I think that is her real name.
Her parents called her Peanut.
I don't know. I met her mom, and but she referred to her as Peanut. So
okay. Anyways, Perry Johnson.
Yeah, Perry Johnson.
Anyway. April 21st or something. The signatures are due. I expect a couple of them to not get their signatures and fall off.
Okay.
So that'll change the game. The game's moving. It's the goalposts move.
It's is it going to get to the point where it's going to be the ones that are just hanging on by a thread will fall off?
So I'm not going to say it because, by the way, Kevin, do you know last week's stream had to be removed?
I know because I had to remove it.
How many damn times have we either been confronted hardcore from candidates for Senate, candidates for governor, or out of the blue, hey, we said something that can't be out there, and I was cool with it. I knew when it was said that, oh boy, that could be a problem.
Yeah, and well, the thing is that we've never been just asked.
You say it all the time. Nobody's watching the damn show, but everybody wants on it, and everybody's concerned about something that we talk about controversial.
Well, and we kind of talked about this when we were talking about screenshots before the show. Once it's on the internet, though, I can take it down,
but
it's all. Guess what? You could probably, if someone's good enough, they can still find it, or it's been recorded, but we obliged.
We did. By the way, I like the Anthony Finelli. I thought it was a great show.
Yeah.
And he'd probably. We're lucky. We have 3 great candidates for Secretary of State.
Very strong candidates.
Yeah, and Anthony's right there. But we stepped in a pile of poo that's in litigation, and we're requested to take the stream down. I said no problem, and I threw out a lot of clips. I made a lot of clips.
Well, yeah, and I mean we have no problem with that. And
here's the thing: the people that needed it taken down were not watching this show. But somebody, probably that lives in Hillsdale, was watching the show and ratted us out or something. Maybe legitimately. I do recall me saying something thinking, oh, shoot, that could be a problem in that litigation.
Yeah, and I would hate for something to affect
the results of that.
Yeah,
true.
Exactly. Her, Tony's chances at at the Secretary of State because of something he said on our show. Because even if no one watches it, we jokingly say,
apparently somebody does.
Hey, we had people in the chat today I've never seen before.
I even put my glasses on to try to read them.
Yeah, we'll go over that after the show. But Familiar Human's actually here too. That's one of my people. He pops in. He's from Michigan though. So.
Okay, he's a Michiganian.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Cereal City or something. Anyways, continue.
Where are we at?
I don't know.
Speaking of candidates for governor, Carla Wagner got mad at me over the weekend.
That's easy.
Whatever. What's new?
Yeah, whatever.
I'm thinking if you're a candidate for governor, you wouldn't worry about what the heck I'm doing.
And if
or what I put on Facebook.
If they're mad at you, that means you're doing something right.
I guess so. I don't know how. I did no formal training for this gig.
Oh, there wasn't a training?
No.
Oh. Well, because if there's a training, they'd have to pay you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is free. I'm out of pocket on this gig, Kevin.
Every time.
All right. This Saturday is 11 to 1 is another opportunity to sign the Citizens Only Vote petition.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a signing event and a candidate meet and greet. Our boy Justin Griffiths is going to be here for House District 47. And our new friend, Brian Ignatowski, for House District 48, will be here for a meet and greet. And then we're giving tours of the Jackson GOP headquarters.
Of course.
And I think I said there's a clip coming out on this. You're going to love it when you and people. We're going to give a tour whether you like it or not. If not, we're going to beat you up in the hallway.
Yeah, he said that. I have it in writing.
Anyways, this Saturday, 11 to 1,
another
opportunity to sign the Citizens Only Vote initiative and an opportunity to meet 2 great candidates that represent portions of Jackson County, Justin Griffiths and Brian Ignatowski. 11 to 1 Saturday.
Yep.
Get up here. You can find more details on jxngop.org.
Yep.
All right. February 12th will be another Under the Oak Speaker Series. Our guest will be James Dixon. That's him right there.
Right there. There he is.
He's been on our show.
He has.
He's going to be here live at the Jackson GOP February 12th at 6 o'clock.
I like James.
$12. Give you some pizza, some Coca-Cola, bottles of water, and James Dixon as our speaker. From the Michigan Enjoyer. Best way to catch up on James Dixon, if you don't know who the hell I'm talking about, is start with the Michigan Enjoyer, but check out his podcast, the James Dixon Podcast. James Dixon, February 12th. Registration available at jxngop.org. Our county convention is coming up February. I get the dates mixed up. I think it's 28th, and then the state convention is March 26th. The 26, 28, which one's which? But you can find out about that on jxngop.org. Guess what, Kevin? I'm a guest on another podcast.
Yeah, I know, because you asked me to come with you.
Yeah, you're my driver.
Yeah, well, I gotta do something.
I don't want to drive to Livingston County.
I don't blame you.
So, the Right Side Podcast, hosted by Deb.
I do love that name.
It is a sweet name.
It is a good name.
The Right Side Podcast, hosted by the Livingston County Chair, Deb Drick. It is an official Livingston County GOP podcast.
And she's been on our show, too.
In the studio. Yeah, she came in the studio. Say right there.
Yeah, or maybe.
She did.
I forget.
But anyways, we're driving to Whitmore Lake, I think, tomorrow to be in the studio at the Right Side Podcast, 7 o'clock.
Let's do it.
It airs at 7. They go long, like 9 sometimes. But we're going long today.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm in no hurry. Yeah. The wife's finally back to work. She's been sick. And she got to put in some midnight oil and work a little later.
Well.
Work never goes away.
No. You can be sick all you want. It's still always going to be there.
I wrote down Minnesota. We are too long to talk about Minnesota, but I thought about something when we were talking about Genevieve.
Yes.
Put all them damn data centers in Minnesota.
It's cold enough. They have enough lakes. They tout about it.
By the way, Kevin, I thought of something. All right. They thought people were talking about bringing the water gun back and spray the violent protesters.
I was thinking the same thing.
You don't do that. It's freaking Minnesota. It's colder than heck. You put a sprinkler on the top of those Humvees and you just get them wet. You don't have to blow them over with the water gun. You just sprinkle them with water. They will go in. It's like 0 in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's not nice. I noticed that the protests have been losing steam earlier than prior during the George Floyd BLM protests. And I was like, oh, maybe, people aren't as passionate. No. It's just way cold. It was the summertime last time.
No, what's got them fired up is that a guy got shot over the weekend.
But the thing is, we're told that we're supposed to be fired up about it, but they're not as fired up. The Renee Good getting killed was a much more passionate group of people. The fact that it was a white man, I think it was there was a spike, and now they're like, man, whatever, white guy died.
Well, it's not good.
No, it's not good.
Outlook,
sad.
Outlook. More and more we look at it. Could be. It probably was a justifiable shooting of ICE officers, but could have been avoided. I think it's so. And Kevin, what I want to ask you, so with the Renee Good shooting of Renee Good, same thing. When that officer was ready to get run over by Renee's car, he had all the right to shoot. His partner was at the driver's side window, and I remember thinking, "Boy, that's a little sketchy shooting her with your partner right there."
Yeah, I remember you. I think you might have brought it up on the show.
Check this one out. Yeah. The Saturday incident. What was there? 3, 4, 5 cops around him on the ground.
There was one officer under him.
Okay. And then the ICE officer pulls his weapon out. Someone said gun or something, and shoots him. Your buddies are around. I don't think that was a safe shot. I mean, the incident would have to be dire to fire off those rounds with your fellow
officer,
guys right there.
And I got to look into it further.
Do they train like that?
I don't know. Literally, as I was walking out the door today, I had heard someone talking about how they were watching the video and how there was an officer on top of a female, the guy was on top of a female officer, and I didn't pay much attention. So that's all I'm going off of. And so, but I don't foresee that. But I mean.
Marcy posted a documentary that was put out a couple years ago, the fall of Minneapolis, and it had to do with the.
I've seen it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was some shady shit.
Yeah. Well, that's if you dive deep into it, that state
it's a mess.
Yeah, and now Tim Wall's telling everyone, ICE are not law enforcement officers.
Bullshit.
And you don't have to treat them as law. He said that.
I know.
And I'm like,
and that mayor.
What?
The blood's on their hands too. Their blood's on people's hands.
Yeah. No, and it's even worse now.
It needs to stop.
He is inciting this further on and
to cover up his fraud.
Yeah.
Somali billions. 19 billion they're up to. It's bad. Now, I feel sorry for the rest of Minnesota. I feel sorry for the rest of Minneapolis. There's probably parts of Minneapolis that are like, Jesus Christ, is it going to end? because all this is going down in the hood.
Throw it all away.
Ridiculous.
I saw a proposal that we'll take
cover it with a data center.
We'll take Alberta and they can have Minnesota.
I loved it.
We'll swap Canada.
I loved it.
Actually, the map made sense.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I've seen the same thing.
I might have seen it from your page. I don't know.
We could talk a lot more about Minnesota.
Yeah,
we do have our opinions.
I talked about that a lot Sunday.
We kind of scratched upon our opinions there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I do a show on Sundays now. That's just basically me just ranting about BS, and I covered it a lot on Sunday.
If there's an incident in front of my house, no, Kevin, you and I are leaving the Commonwealth Center, and there is a police incident in the parking lot or near us, and we're watching it, and we recognize something that's very wrong with this incident, like even if the cops are being shitty or whatever it is, okay? I'm still not going to engage.
No,
that's none of my business. You could get killed. This is a dangerous situation. Now, if it's that absurd of wrongdoing by law enforcement,
I'll report it.
We will deal with that in the appropriate manner. But you do not engage.
No.
Bad idea.
One of the things I saw was a teacher, specifically it was a teacher talking about this could be you, it could be your family. I'm like, absolutely not. There's a 0% chance of anyone that I'm directly associated with being in a situation where we're blocking a federal agent and then try to run them over with a gun trained on us. Okay, let's take the federal agent out of it. No one I know personally, I feel like, would run a human being over with a gun trained on them.
Probably shouldn't do that.
No, it's
my wife.
Because I'm going to take the shot too, and I'm not a federal agent.
My wife watches a ton of those reels. She's so into them. I can't do it all. She calls them Delulu. They're Delulu. That's not normal thinking, man.
No.
There's a way to fight something that you feel is wrong.
Yeah.
And engaging with armed police officers, whether they're federal agents or not, is a bad idea. Yeah. You might get hurt.
It's not even officers. Like I said, if a person tries to run me over with a vehicle and I have my firearm on me, I'm taking that shot too.
And you know what? I'm not interfering.
And no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm going to let it go down. Oh, that sucks.
It's a bad situation.
I don't want to get shot in the face. 0% chance.
I did hear that Governor Walz reached out to Trump this morning.
His chief of staff.
Oh, I thought it was Walz, and then Trump said, "Yeah, I'll have. You need to get a hold of Tom Homan."
Yeah,
Trump said, "Listen, you need to at least turn over your incarcerated illegal immigrants to federal ICE agents." I'm thinking to myself when I first heard that, why would you want to keep them and house them in your state prisons?
He's protecting.
Anytime you can get rid of prisoners to keep them locked up somewhere else, get rid of them. Yeah. Why you want to pay?
One of the big arguments is, well, what if they deport them to the wrong country?
I don't give a shit.
And yeah, that's actually exactly what the journalist said. I don't care.
Send them to Somalia.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good place.
I don't know. Send them to Greenland.
Another good place for data centers.
Yeah, I think that's the idea.
And then we miss out on data centers.
It's real chilly there. Not if we just annex it and it becomes like Puerto Rico, because that's what's going to happen. Let's be honest. Anyways,
big news in the studio, right here in the studio.
Yeah,
a new podcast.
Oh yeah, brand new podcast Wednesday.
The Under the Oaks podcast launches Wednesday. We were advertising noon, just sometime on Wednesday.
I think we decided 1.
Oh, no, we're going to meet at noon.
Were we?
We're going to do Chris Long at 1.
Oh, okay. That's what
so that's an announcement.
Yeah.
So, no. You and I will figure out when we're going to meet.
No,
I told Justin noon.
Noon is fine. Okay. That's fine. I probably have mixed up.
But you're not going to catch it live. We're going to feed it to you later in the day. We're not going to edit. I don't want to edit.
No.
But we are going to record and then put it where we want to put it. It will be YouTube, Rumble, and, of course, the Jackson GOP Facebook page, which has a huge following.
Yes.
So allow us to do that, because that would be the best way to get it to the Jackson GOP.
We need to get together and get that linked up. But
no, I'm just going to share it to it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Pre-recorded. Duh.
Right. So anyways, that launches Wednesday. So later in the day on Wednesday, brand new podcast you'll be able to see on Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. Under the Oaks podcast. It's a Jackson GOP exclusive podcast. We're going to bring on different local politicians or local candidates. Listen to their crap for a half hour, and then we're going to talk about things directly related to the Jackson GOP. I would like to bring in a different host after every month. This will be a once a month stream.
Last Wednesday of every month.
Ish. I would like to bring in different host, and which has its hurdles, but it sounds fun.
Yeah, I think it'll keep it interesting.
Chris, Marcy, get her in here, Dave Jones, and then the list will go on and on. But right there's 3 months knocked out. But this week's show will be me as the host, and our guest will be Justin Griffiths, candidate for House Seat 47. So a lot of opportunities to get to know Justin because you can do that Wednesday and then again on Saturday at our meet and greet.
Yep. I was trying to pull up the logo, but I didn't.
It's a cool logo.
I do actually. I do like the logo.
Yeah.
Chris did a good job of that.
That
was Chris, right?
Boy, I knocked him off. Oh, we just touched upon it. Oh, I'll be okay. Next Monday, Stick to the Plan podcast will air Saturday at 1:00.
Yes.
We're going to stream Saturday at 1:00.
We will repost it at 2 on Monday. Just keep
our guest, grassroots vice chair of the Michigan GOP, will be our guest in the studio. Anybody knows Chris Long? That's who our guest is. He's very controversial, very passionate, and it should be an exciting, interesting show.
Yeah, I think it'll be a different type of show in a lot of ways. But it'll be a good show.
It'll be a good show. So we do that Saturday at 1. Jump on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. Check it out if you want.
Yep.
And then we'll repost it again on Monday. But then we don't have to do nothing on Monday.
Oh, it'd be so nice.
Gotta got Monday off.
Mondays, I always tell people Mondays are my hell day.
Maybe we'll eat some conies.
Mondays are my hell day.
We'll either go to the Shamrock for lunch, or we'll go over to Virginia and have some conies.
Speaking of the Shamrock, speaking in things going on in the studio this week, I believe John Wilson, his home Jackson, John Wilson will be airing another episode this week.
It's about time. It's been a while.
Yeah, me and him are in negotiations on what day and time. Probably Thursday around 1.
He's going to need an hour and a half, 2 hours, because it's been such a long time. A whole lot of stuff has happened. But John, he keeps it down to an hour.
Yeah, he likes to keep it an hour.
All right, so his home Jackson this week, Wednesday, under the Oaks podcast.
Yep.
Just look for it on Wednesday.
Yep, it'll be out. We should probably, because I'm going to create a new Rumble page, and it'll be on the GOP YouTube as well, right?
Right. GOP Chris is supposed to connect you with the information on that. It could be in that text.
It was in the text. I saw that. Yeah, I have it written down.
So Rumble, YouTube, and Facebook later in the day on Wednesday. The Under the Oaks podcast.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one.
And then check me out on the Right Side podcast tomorrow night at 7.
Yeah,
with Deb Drick.
And that's live?
That is live.
All right.
And she reads all the chat.
And she's got a lot of chat.
She does have a lot of chat. They don't share it very much through the week. They just throw a stream out and walk away.
Yeah, well.
No clips, no nothing. But it's a successful podcast.
Yeah,
it's taken off.
It does well.
By the way, you can catch that podcast and many, many others at jxngop.org. You don't have to remember the names of them. You go to jxngop.org, go to the bottom of the page, and click on Promethean Action.
That's the one I can never spell.
Stick to the Plan, Right Side Podcast. I know I'm missing a bunch of others, but what a great resource.
I think Grassroots Army's still on there.
Yeah, and he don't exist no more.
Yeah, no. Remember, we were going to steal his name.
I know. we were hoping we'd get some of Garrett's viewers.
Yeah, until we get a cease and desist. Garrett. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Well,
that's it, man.
All right, we're getting out of here, guys. Make sure you like the stream. Follow the channel if you're not already. And keep an eye out for the Under the Oaks channel. I don't know if it'll be a Jackson GOP channel or an Under the Oaks channel.
You're going to get it on the Jackson GOP Facebook page, and that's where most everybody's at.
Yeah. But if you want to follow on Rumble, it'll be one of the other. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Just go to the Facebook page. It's in the description too.
In the description.
JXNGOP.org. You can probably find it all there too.
You can find it there.
So, all right, guys. Well, we'll see you next Monday.
Saturday.
Saturday
at 1.
Saturday at 1, and then we'll be reposting on Monday. But until then, yeah. All right, we're out of here. Bye. You guys have a good one. See you later.
Okay, what do you think, Kevin?
I concur.
Oh. No, I predict that in 2027, the political climate in Michigan is going to be much better.